Life got you down? Feeling a bit frustrated? Not sure what to do? Well, you have stopped by the right place. Living Life Victoriously is your station for inspiration, encouragement, and refueling. Here we will discover together what it means to live a victorious life with your host, Victoria E. Henderson. I want you to know that you are not alone. So sit back, relax, just for a little while, and let's talk about it. Good evening, one. Good evening, all. I'm going to come up with a theme song one day for living life victoriously. Well, I tried. I need a songwriter. So if there's a songwriter out there, oh my goodness, please let me know you are here and you can help with a theme song for living life victoriously. Good evening, everybody. Come on in. Welcome in. Good afternoon. I'm going to say morning. I've got my days and nights mixed up, but it is afternoon. Hey, Serena, how are you this evening? Come on, you guys, share the likes, share the love. Welcome again to another episode, edition, whatever you want to call it, of Living Life Victoriously. I like to say that, you don't have to wait until we get over yonder, till there's pie in the sky. We can have a victorious life down here on this journey together, but that means we got to do it together. And so I can help you. You can help me on this journey to live a more abundant life. How have you guys been since the last show? Hi, Tara. It's Tara. I want to say your name right. So just if bear with me if I didn't say it right. Hi, Allison. Y'all come on in. Hey, cousin Barbara. Auntie Barbara. I'm saying cousin Allison and Auntie Barbara. That's what I want to say. All right. We got it together. Y'all take a few minutes. Good evening to you all. Y'all take a few minutes and go ahead and share the show. I'm telling you, we have a good show planned for you tonight. I am so very glad to see so many coming in. And I know that's not just because of me. It is because of my beautiful and amazing guests. But I want to say also happy Memorial Day to those. This is a day that is set aside to remember those who have died in this country's service. And we certainly honor and remember them and thank them for the sacrifices. Okay, Tara says, no worry. Okay, Miss Smith says, no worries. Thank you. Hey, Dawn, how are you doing tonight? You guys all right? Well, good. Well, this show is being aired on ALH Broadcasting, as well as on Facebook, as well as ALH's Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel. It's being set live there at this moment. You can go back and see it, and it also will be replayed here on Facebook at 6:00 p.m. this coming Saturday. So if you enjoy the show and you know somebody who needs this word tonight, you will have the chance to go back and see that, hear it, and share it as well. So again, we thank you for being here. I am your host, Victoria E. Henderson. If I didn't say that, I am Victoria of Living Life Victoriously. Now, all of that commercials are all aside. I am going to bring my guest up for tonight. Hold on. She sent me her bio. I'm going to read her bio, and then I'm going to bring her up. Yay. You guys give some snaps up and send some hearts up on Facebook for our amazing guest. She is not a stranger to me, but her name is Michelle L. Green. She is a native New Yorker who has had the unique ability to live in both a physically abled and disabled body. Learning to look past her visible devices, she views herself as a woman of inspiration, power, and uniqueness. She earned her bachelor's degree in business administration from the Metropolitan College of New York and has been a proud member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated since the spring of 2020. She enjoys singing, moving and grooving to old school R&B, and spending quality time with her loved ones. Through motivation and inspiration, Michelle moves people to experience their limitless possibilities. And so I'm going to bring her up right now. And y'all bear with us a minute because we were still trying to work out how it will look best. Okay. So I'm adding her to the stage. All right, cuz. It's on time. When I was reading your bio, you was like, is that me?
I was, yes. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Cousin Vicky, for this opportunity.
You're
And yes, I was
welcome.
reading, oh, was that me? And then I was like, wait a minute. I've been a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated since the spring of 2000.
Oh, really?
Yes, 2000. So last
Well,
week,
you put
Tuesday.
2020 on there, girl. Just,
No, I think it is. Listen, it's 2000. But
is it my eyes? It might be my eyes. I do not have my glasses on, okay?
last Tuesday, my line sisters and I celebrated 25 glorious years of sisterhood into our
Wow.
beloved sorority. And
Oh,
so, thank you all so much. I'm not able to see who all is here, but I want to give a shout out specifically and correctly say, hey, bestie, hey to my friend Tara.
Tara, that's it. That's it. Tara, that's right. Get me
Tara,
right.
I see your face.
Is it Chris Green on the line? If you go on, okay, we're gonna take a moment to just share this. If you go on the Facebook post, you can. You have your phone.
Uh-huh.
If you go to the link on the Facebook, I sent you the link. But if you go on the post itself and you just turn your volume down, you could see the Facebook comments because that's what I have done. But here on StreamYard, I'm able to see the comments, and so I love that y'all on Facebook. If you have a comment as we go along, I will include you in the conversation, and we just gonna go from there. There's a Chris Green that's on, and a
Hey,
Denise
Crash.
Lamb. Yes.
Please.
And she said, "Hey, Shell." So again, if you just do that, go on your on Facebook, you can see the comments too. But again, thank you for saying yes. When we had our prayer before we started, I said, "Thank you, God, for you saying yes," because there's a power in saying yes. And I wanted you to come on the show because I know of some of the things that you gone through. And Michelle and I are first cousins. Our mothers were sisters, and I've known you my entire life, but I haven't known all that you've gone through. And here on Living Life Victoriously, um, where I talk about living a victorious life, I see some of the things you've gone through, and that has inspired me. And so I just wanted you to come on and share a little bit, share on your heart. Um, we talk about disabilities, and that's when I put on the flyer for the show. Let's talk about your unique disabilities. Would you mind sharing with us, how it was that you came? What did you notice something about your health at first? Was you born with some disabilities, or just share that a little bit?
Thank you so much for that. And yes, I'm happy to share, and I love talking about myself. And so at the wonderful age of 21, I was
Mm-hmm.
diagnosed with a benign tumor on my lower spine. It grew
Okay.
on my nerves that controls everything from the waist down.
Mm-hmm.
And how that actually came about, I was just living my best life, right? 21 years old.
Right.
When you're at that age, you feel like you are actually immortal and
Oh,
nothing
yes.
bothers you. And so I had back pain, I had pains in my legs, and I was just like, all right, maybe it's because I stopped dancing. I used to dance in junior college. Maybe it's because I stopped exercising. And I was
Mm-hmm.
out. It was on Friday, July 9th. I was out walking
Wow.
with my children. I worked with the Boys and Girls Club, Madison Square Boys and Girls Club. And I'm
Right.
walking with the kids. And as I'm walking, you know how when you fall asleep on your hand, you get that pins and needles effect?
Yes.
And it's like, oh my God, just pins and needles. Well, it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm wide awake. And my entire right side started to go numb on me.
Wow.
And so I had to tell my co-counselor, I need you to take the kids to school so they get their lunch. I got to go back to the Boys and Girls Club because I got to, something's not right.
Right,
And it
right.
was Friday, July 9th. I called my mother. She said, go over to the clinic, go over to Bellevue Hospital, New York, be checked out by a doctor. And I was examined. And the
Mm-hmm.
doctor in the clinic said, you know what? I need to have you admitted. We need to run
Oh,
some extensive testing to see what's going on. And you'll be here it's a Friday, so you'll probably be here for a few days, maybe like be discharged like Monday or Tuesday. I said
yes.
that was Friday, July 9th. Yeah, I was discharged from the hospital October 27th, 1993. And so during
Yes.
the time, right, during the time I was in the hospital, they ran an MRI, and that's when the tumor was found. And
Wow.
so what was happening was the tumor was a mass tumor. It was benign, and it
Mm-hmm.
was slowly but rapidly shutting my nervous system down.
Wow.
And so I had a decision to make. The neurosurgeon spoke to me and spoke to my mother and gave us what my options were. And I had two options. Option number one, I could not have surgery. First and foremost,
Okay.
I had to have, I didn't have to, but two options. One option was surgery,
Okay.
right? And if I have surgery, I had what was it, 95 to 97% chance of being paralyzed from the waist down. So I had a
Oh,
3 to 5% chance of walking. And if I did not have the surgery, I was 100% going to be paralyzed from the waist down. So the thought was, what do I want to, what percentage am I going to go with?
right.
100% paralysis, or take a chance, have the surgery, and then see what God has in store. And
Yes.
so I chose surgery
Mm-hmm.
because let me see what my options are. And so I'd rather go with a 3 to 5% chance
Yes.
of walking than
Then
0% chance.
right.
And so that's what happened. And
Mm.
I had this 2 weeks later, like I was admitted on July 9th, July 21st. It was an emergency surgery. July 21st is when I had my spinal cord surgery to
Right.
partially remove the tumor from my spine.
Oh
And I
wow.
said partially because the tumor did so much damage that had they taken it out completely, I would have been completely paralyzed from the waist down.
Oh Jesus.
And so
Wow.
during this time, I spent 3 months in a hospital. I
Mm-hmm.
had to learn how to walk again, stand up
Mm-hmm.
on my own,
Mm-hmm.
and do all these different things that at 21, and now I spent my birthday in the hospital, now 22. What do you mean I don't know how to walk? Like
Right.
I'm 21, I'm 22, I can do this. And so it just completely changed my world.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
I'm sure.
and so, having the conversations with the neurosurgeon, with mommy and Nana, my grandmother, and
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure things out, it's like, okay, so what are we going to do? And I'm like, you know what? I told my doctor, quite frankly, I'm too cute to be in a wheelchair. At
Come on
that
now.
time, I had a certain outlook of what disabled people look like, and
Yes.
that wasn't me. And
Yes.
I had just bought a 3-piece swimsuit from Spiegel. And I'm not sure if anybody knows what Spiegel is. It may be
Well,
out
wait, wait,
there.
what's Spiegel? What's Spiegel? Girl, you showing our age right
I
here.
know, right?
I
Spiegel
haven't
was
heard that
this
word.
was this catalog that had
Yes.
like the best clothes ever.
Uh-huh.
And
I haven't heard that in a long time.
so I told my surgeon, he said, first of all, what is a 3-piece swimsuit? I was like, the bikini top, the bikini
Yes.
bottom, and a sarong and a skirt.
I'm getting
And
ready to say it's a wrong or a little jacket, something.
I had the tropical color sarong skirt.
Okay.
Because I was
Okay.
like, I can't flaunt that from a wheelchair. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna be walking out of this hospital. And he said to me, he's just like, that's not possible. And I said, sir, I'm that patient. I'm
Yeah.
going to say this to you once. Prepare yourself for a miracle, because I'm going to walk out of this hospital. My faith, my support from my family and everyone is not
Yeah.
going to allow me to believe otherwise.
Come on now. Come on
And
now.
so on October 27th,
Yes.
my mother and I, when I was discharged, I was wheeled to the front door of the rehabilitation center. I put my wheelchair on lock, and I got up and I pushed my
Wow.
wheelchair, walking out of the hospital. I did what I said I was going to do, albeit pushing a
Right.
wheelchair, but I still did it. That was the whole thing,
That's
right?
awesome.
And
Yeah.
so that started my life as a
Mhm.
person with a disability.
Yes. Mm.
However, I did not acknowledge myself as being disabled.
Okay.
I
Okay.
didn't acknowledge my disability because I'm 22. I'm slim. I had the 36, 24, 36 figure.
Come on,
Okay.
y'all. Come on,
Um,
y'all. Give it up for us. I'm gonna send some hearts up for that.
and I'm a big sister to three siblings. So
Yes.
for me, I had an image to maintain. I had to show my sisters and my brother that no matter what happens in life, we don't quit. We just keep moving.
Right.
Okay, so now I'm in a wheelchair. All right, so what do? We just keep moving. And that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what I did. I
Mm-hmm.
kept moving. I persevered. I went to therapy. Um, I learned how to walk all over again. I
Right.
ended up with a brace on my right leg, which is called ankle foot orthotic.
Yes.
Um, I spent about 9 months or so in a wheelchair, and then
Right.
I started walking with a cane. And I had
Mm-hmm.
a cane and the brace, and I'm still on go. Like I got to keep moving. I got to, keep doing stuff. Ultimately, I ended up with a career job.
Okay.
Um, I got my first job. I got my own apartment, which I'm
Come
actually still here.
on.
I've been here now 26 years. So I
Oh
love
Lord.
something. I love something.
Yes.
And, I just kept moving, putting
Yes.
myself through college. I pledged into a sorority, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, still never once acknowledging that I was disabled. And throughout that
Wow.
time frame, from 1997 until the fall of 2000, I was actually able to put my cane down.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
I was just moving, like, nothing was going on with me. Nothing was wrong. Everything was fine. Okay, so I had this thing on my leg. It's not a big deal, right?
Because I was going to ask you, what do you mean by not acknowledging your disability? Because we talked, you and I talked about that yesterday. So I definitely wanted to bring that out to the listeners
Woo!
tonight. What does that mean to
By
not
not
acknowledge your disability? And I'll talk about me for just a second. I am at a point in my life where I am depending on my walker and my cane because of some back
Mhm.
issues that I have. And it's been hard. It's been hard. And that's why I say you inspire me. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation because people need to know that um we are not what we look like. We come outside like we're on the show tonight and we look good. Let me just even say that. We just look absolutely beautiful, but they don't know the pain that's
Right.
that we share. And so I wanted to definitely have you talk about acknowledging your disability.
A disability.
Disability. Yeah, what does that mean?
So that is not an easy answer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because 20 years after my first surgery, I had
Yes.
to have the same surgery again
Oh wow.
in February 2013. And that's
Mhm.
the one that for my words, that's the one that did me in. That's the
Okay.
one that I had more to lose because now I
Okay.
have a home, I have a
Yes.
career, I have
Yes.
family and friends, and I'm just like, what do I do? What am I going to go through? And I went through a long-term depression
Mm.
because throughout the 20 years, I ended up acquiring another brace on my left leg. I
Mm-hmm.
picked up my cane again. So now,
Mm-hmm.
one thing I didn't realize until years later is that when I'm taking pictures, I was embarrassed and I was ashamed because, again, growing up and as a young adult, I held embarrassment and shame to the devices because old people, our seniors, are the ones that use this canes, walkers, and wheelchairs, right?
Come
So
on.
that's what that's
You speaking my language now. You're in
that's
the
what
room.
that's what was with me,
You're in the
right?
room.
And so
Mm-hmm.
as I am healing and seeking proper counsel, and when I say proper counsel, psychologists,
Yes.
psychiatrists,
Yes.
speaking to my actual medical doctors, leaning on my family for
Yes.
support, who was my family and very close friends who are extremely supportive,
Yeah.
them consistently pouring into me, telling me, Michelle, you got this, you're strong, you can do this at the third. But let me tell you
Yeah.
something. I did not believe them. And the
Right.
reason why I didn't believe them is because I didn't believe it in myself. So
Right.
it wasn't until 2019 I joined an organization called Momentum Education. And I
Mm-hmm.
started taking life transformative workshops that was teaching me different ways of looking at life, different way of being.
Yes.
And I also joined an organization called the Initiative for Women with Disabilities, IWD.
Oh,
And
wow.
that opened up my eyes and my world to let me know, first and foremost, there is a whole community of disabled human beings,
Yes.
specifically women. And these are amazing, beautiful human beings that
Yes.
have taught me how to get along, how to move about. So, as much as I have been told I inspire others, these women also inspire me,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so, with Momentum and IWD, I started seeing things a little bit differently.
Okay.
And I started looking at myself like, wait a minute. There's nothing wrong with walking around with crutches. There's nothing, my loft strands, there's nothing wrong with being out and about with a wheelchair. Because as a dear friend of mine have said, now I got four wheels. Catch up to me in what? And in
Okay.
today's world, my wheelchair actually has a motor. So it's a
Oh,
wheelchair with power assist. Now I got four wheels and a motor. That's one.
okay.
That's one.
Huh.
So
Okay.
I have learned over the years to remove the embarrassment and the
Yeah.
shame that I had attached and the shame that I attached to my devices.
Yes.
And even so much as to January of this year, I was invited to a formal event and I was not going to go because of the weather. And I'm
Okay.
talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, the only way I could go is if I had my wheelchair, but I'm not going to bring my wheelchair. And they
Okay.
asked me one question: why not?
Why not?
And I
Yeah.
thought about it, was just like, why not?
Why
And
not?
so I went in my wheelchair, and they said, no one's going to care that you're in your wheelchair
Wow.
but you. And if anyone cares, they're going to ask you, are you okay?
Yes.
And my
Yes.
wheelchair is royal blue. I wore a
All
white dress. So
right.
now I'm coordinated. But all that to say, it did not take, it wasn't an overnight thing for me to accept and embrace being disabled.
Yes.
It took some time, it took a lot of work, and I'm actively still doing the work to
Right.
remind myself that, you know what, I have nothing to be embarrassed about.
Right.
You
Right.
know, as I look back, you and I were talking yesterday, and I was looking at old pictures,
Hmm.
and I've seen this in the past. I noticed how I would intentionally pose myself in pictures so that you couldn't see my
Yeah.
devices,
Mm-hmm.
right? I would stand behind people. I'll be in group shots so that people couldn't see my braces. You couldn't
Yeah.
see my crutches. Or if I'm in a group picture and it was Michelle, sit down here, take my crutches, take my cane, just so it's not in the
Right.
picture.
Right.
Because I don't want that attached to me. And now I'm
Yeah.
like, these are a part of me. There's
Right.
nothing to be embarrassed about, because here's the thing: what's the alternative? Dead
Ah,
people don't have aches and pains.
amen.
So we are alive, and I embrace the ability to be able to share my stories. And even though I'm in my darkest days or my hardest days where I'm in a lot of pain and I am, like, okay,
Okay.
now I got to take my pain medicine, I still thank God. Because the alternative was, if that tumor was malignant and not benign, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I did that years ago.
Now,
But I'm here for,
I done told you that yesterday I'm not gonna cry. I told you that.
so
No, no, I think what I did say was get some tissues, have some tissues nearby.
have some tissues ready. So I have had the unique ability
Mm-hmm.
to live in both a abled and a disabled body. And the majority of my life now has
Yes.
been over 30 years in a disabled body. And it
Yes.
wasn't until the last 2019, so the last 6 years, that I fully embraced, 6 to 7 years that I fully embraced being disabled. And I am extremely proud of it.
You
I
should.
speak up
Yes.
for
Yes.
myself. I
Yes.
speak up for others. I have been in scenarios where I have brought awareness and other groups. There are
Yes.
things we take for granted.
Yeah.
And I'm
Right.
going to specifically talk about hotels.
Yes. I just came from one.
When I have stayed at hotels and I ask for an accessible room,
Yes.
I get one or two accessible rooms. The room is either accessible in the bathroom, so I get a huge bathroom
Right.
with grab bars all around, and a
Mm-hmm.
really itty bitty small room that my wheelchair or my scooter can
You're
barely fit
having a
in.
hard time getting it in there.
Correct.
Right.
So I had to learn that accessibility is not a universal term.
Yes.
you
Yes.
know. And so the other thing I have been actively talking about, for me specifically, um, stairs. When I'm going out to places, I need to know how many stairs there are, because I can go up and down some stairs, but I have limits. The restroom, the bathroom, I need to use a well lit bathroom and not a
Yes.
dark bathroom.
Right.
All
Right.
these things matter. All these
Right. And
things
all
make a
these things
difference.
that able-bodied people don't think about when they're planning, these
Events and
these
stuff.
events. But I'm gonna go back for 1 minute.
Yeah.
Why did you have to have the second surgery? And thank you, Melanie says she has some tissues for me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. My other guest, Angela Cook, said hello and going back. Reen Shiz says, Michelle, you are an inspiration.
Thank you,
Okay.
sis.
So, and Latasha Morgan, she is on our YouTube. She says, good evening. So, good evening to you, Latasha. I don't want to leave
Hi,
anyone out.
Special Natasha. Hi, Sword Wars.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank you. But
I
let's
will
go
answer
back.
the question why
Mm-hmm.
I had to have the second
Second
surgery.
surgery. Yeah.
I had to have the second surgery because the remaining tumor grew
Mm-hmm.
back angry.
Wow.
It was in that one space, and she started to grow. And
Mm-hmm.
I started having extreme lower back pain that
Yes.
wasn't just contributed to the cold weather. Also,
Mm-hmm.
I started falling down a lot.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm having back pain. I am tripping, and I would just laugh at, oh, I just tripped over invisible rock. Y'all know I'm
Yeah.
just clumsy, right? And it's
Right.
okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so I was working, and I had an amazing group of people I was working with. My team was absolutely amazing, and we were like a little family. So I let them
Mm-hmm.
know, like, this is what's happening. Um, I went to go see my primary doctor, and he had me do an MRI in February of 2013. It
Uh-huh.
was on a Friday morning, and that after I went at 9 o'clock in the morning. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, he called me and he said, "I need you to see a neurosurgeon."
Okay.
And I was just like, okay. And if you don't get to see one in 2 weeks, give me a call. He gave me a number to a neurosurgeon. I went to work on Monday. I called the neurosurgeon's office. Coincidentally, someone had just canceled. And so that Tuesday afternoon, I took the day off, and mommy and I went to see the neurosurgeon, and he took an hour and a half and explained that the tumor had grown back and
Mm-hmm.
it had to come out immediately,
Oh, wow.
because if I don't treat it, it's going to shut me down, and I'm going to be completely paralyzed, and
Wow.
there'll
Were
be no
you were
coming
you
back.
feeling the numbness again?
So the thing is, after the first surgery, I no longer have sensation in my feet. I cannot wiggle my toes,
Wow.
and
Wow.
so the tingling and all that wasn't unusual. It was the norm for me. The problem was me falling and the lower back pain.
Right.
And so when
Right.
he said you have to have emergency surgery, I said, well, I just bought a bus ticket to DC for March 1st. So can we do this surgery thing when I come back from my DC trip? And he said, yes, you absolutely can. But I will tell you this, between now and March 1st, you're going to fall on your face and you won't be able to get back up.
Oh, wow.
So I
Wow.
looked at my watch and I was like, "What you doing tomorrow about lunchtime?" I got
Okay.
some time.
Okay. Okay. We're gonna reschedule that little trip.
Listen, I did get my money back
Okay.
from Greyhound. So that was February. I think it was February 15th.
Yes.
My surgery was 10 days later on February 25th.
Okay.
So when he said emergency, he meant that.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
my mindset was, and I told my job, listen, I went through this 20 years ago. I never learned how to ride a bike. Let me be clear about that. But I
Yeah.
hear, just like riding a bike, like once you get off, once you get back on it, you'll figure it out. So I
Right.
was just like, I went through this, you know, 20 years ago. It's February. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be back in about 3 or 4 months. I'll see you guys Memorial Day weekend. Actually, it was around this time of the year. I said, if I don't come back Memorial Day weekend, I'll be back the first week in June. And it was like, okay, we kept in touch. It was like, okay. That was 12 years ago.
Right.
I've not been back.
Wow. Wow.
And the reason
This time
why
it
is
changed your
because
life. It changed everything.
psychologically,
Mm-hmm.
everything changed. My body was 20 years older, so it didn't
Yeah.
bounce back as fast as I thought it would.
Right. Right.
And and the last time I walked out the hospital which I still did this time, pushing a wheelchair. But
Yes.
now in my recovery, I went from a wheelchair to a walker to the rollator
Mm-hmm.
to my loft strand crutches. I am not
Mm-hmm.
strong enough to go to one arm device. So I
Okay.
need I have to walk with two crutches. There's
Got
no
you. Got you.
options for that.
Look, now
And
look,
that
I'm
didn't
joking.
sit
I'm
well with
joking
me.
here. Where's that bikini now? With that little eeny weeny teeny weeny bikini from last time?
Oh, so I've upgraded. I've upgraded because I was a single digit size back then. I'm in two digits. um, I still have that three-piece bikini in my house again. I don't throw stuff away, but and over the
It's
years,
okay.
it's just been like, oh my gosh,
Yes.
And
Yes.
these last couple of years, I've had the ability to work with IWD to
Yes.
be that person that I needed. So
Mm-hmm.
when I was in the hospital in '93, because I was 21, I was just at the cusp of being too young to be on the adult floor with the seniors and
Yes.
too old to be on the floor with the children.
The babies. Yeah.
I chose to be on the floor with the children
Okay.
because it was bright. The kids kept me alive and
Yeah.
well and
Yeah.
thriving.
Yeah.
And I had already graduated from high school. So I had nobody to look up to. I had no one to talk to say what it's like to be in this scenario.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
21 years old. I'm 22 years old. I have to learn how to walk again. And it's
Right.
always was always inside of me to at some point in time in my life, I want to be able to work with young women with disabilities and be that person that I needed 20
Yes.
years ago,
Yes.
25 years ago,
Yes.
30 years ago.
Right.
And through IWD,
Mm-hmm.
I've been blessed to do that.
I think I need to look up IWD. I think I think I
They
need
are
to.
now in person and online.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, I taught a pre-work readiness program with them in person, and
Mm-hmm.
then during COVID, it went to virtual. So I had my co-facilitator and I did this for a year, reaching out to young men and women, teaching them baby skills that they need, baby steps to get ready to go to
Mm-hmm.
work or to school. And we had quite a few students. It was a nice intimate group. We had quite a few students that would come in, and one of the young ladies that came in was actually in college. She was, in her early years of college and was looking to figure out how to write a cover letter, what
Yeah.
skills she needed,
Yes.
um, just to excel. And I'm
Yes.
so proud to say she just graduated from college on May 16th.
All
Um,
right. All right.
so she has cerebral palsy, and through her physical rehabilitation, she was determined to walk across the stage in her walker, and she did that.
Get it. That's what I'm
CBS
talking
News
about.
did a news story on her, and she's been thriving.
Yes.
So I'm really proud of her. I have other students that I continue to keep in touch with, and I mentor,
Mm-hmm.
helping them come out of their shells. And while I'm helping them, they are actually helping me.
Yes. Yes.
Through
Yes.
IWD, I was introduced to an organization called Open Style Lab.
Mm-hmm.
Open
Mm-hmm.
Style Lab is an organization that creates and designs footwear and clothing and different garments for people with disabilities, including working with people with disabilities.
Wow.
And these last few years have absolutely just been amazing.
Wow. We are you are resonating for sure with our viewers tonight. They're saying awesome, that this is amazing and it's much needed awesomeness. But I want to go back just a minute when you said that you went through a period of depression, because once again, um we need to tell everybody, no, the road is not easy, but there are
Mhm.
things out there that can help you when you need it. Talk a little bit about your depression and how you got out of that.
Thank you. Whew. I'm going to act honestly say in full transparency.
That's the only way we know how to be, baby.
I am
Mhm.
a functional depressed person. And
Mhm.
what
Okay.
that means is that I have my days where I am depressed and I'm quiet and I'm withdrawn. And then I have my days when I'm out and loud and about. It's
Mm-hmm.
in there. It's
Yes.
for me. When do I choose to acknowledge the depression?
Okay.
Now, to go backwards to that deep, dark depression, I had I was at a point where because of my inabilities to do things for myself, I actually lost some of my independence.
Yeah. Okay.
And so my mother had to stay with me.
Mm.
She chose to stay with me when I came out the hospital because I literally could not turn over in my bed on my own. So
Yes.
my mother, my sister, family, friends would take turns and come in to, stay with me
Yeah.
and help me to literally get back on my feet.
Yes.
And I felt like I was a burden to
Okay.
every single body I came in contact with. And
Yeah.
so it was a long road, but with prayer, um, and long talks, long crying sessions with
Mm-hmm.
friends, with family, by myself,
Mm-hmm.
I got the counseling that I needed. You
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
how do I keep myself from going backwards?
Mm-hmm.
I actually sit still and I think about where I was.
Yes. Yes.
And you see this quote somewhere floating around, my that I prayed for to be where I am right now. But how did I forget like how
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
messed
How
that
it
up.
goes.
But I think about where I was and
Mm-hmm.
where I am right now.
Amen. Amen.
And I'm actually going through physical therapy again
Okay.
because my mobility started decreasing in the fall of last year. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to tell you about that dark depression. I was in a depressed state. I know all the audience may or may not know, but I lost my mom. You lost your aunt. I lost my mom in
Yeah.
December of 2023, and that grief heifer is a beast.
Yes. Yes.
So I
Yes.
gave
Yes.
into it,
Mm-hmm.
and even though I noticed my mobility was decreasing, I didn't care
Right.
because the person that I would speak to is my mother,
Right.
and so I had nobody. I didn't have her to talk to.
Right.
I chose to not share that with my siblings because I'm the big sister and I'm supposed to have everything together, right?
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
I got to figure it out. I got to figure it out. I have to figure it out. But here's the thing, we are not alone.
Amen. Oh, we are not alone. Mm-mm.
And so
Mm-mm.
that day in January, when my friend asked me why not, I was just like, yeah, why not?
We're not.
I need to let me rethink what's happening in my life. And family friends were saying to me, are you okay? Because I noticed this was happening. I
Mm-hmm.
noticed that was happening. I noticed that, you were struggling a little bit more than normal. Are you okay? And when they said to me that they saw me, that let me know that I am loved. People do
Yes.
care about me.
Yep.
That means that I need to care about myself. And so I decided to do something.
Right.
And I got myself back into physical therapy.
All
While
right.
I am in therapy, I see the patients there, and I go to the same place I started back in 2013, and
Mm-hmm.
I remember where I was. And one of my
Yes.
physical therapists, he and I used to work with each other way back when.
Mm-hmm.
He says to me consistently, Michelle, you have come so far, and
Wow.
I'm so proud of you.
Wow.
And so it's a mindset for me. I sit
Yes. Yes.
still and I think about where I was, where I am, and what's possible. It's endless possibilities for me.
Amen. I like that. It's all about the mindset, and I think I'm definitely gonna heed your words. It's about how I think. I went to a wedding over the weekend, and I was reunited with some of my friends that I have seen, been friends with since I was living back in New York, and we've been friends from childhood. And then I saw some of the grandmother of the bride, and all that. I was the only one with a cane, and at times I had the walker, and I too, like you, felt a little embarrassed, but then, like you said, what is the alternative? I don't go, or I just sit in the car, or just watch the wedding from the car, so no, but I appreciate what you said tonight, about the therapy and the mindset. And I am going to be starting therapy soon because I had some other health challenges come up, and I'm not dealing with it well mentally.
Okay.
But I love the fact that you talked about getting therapy because we as Black people, and the old sayings, right? Whatever happens in this house stays in this house. So we don't think that counseling is for us. But
Mm-hmm.
I want to dispel that myth tonight, as well as the other myths that you cannot have a full life if you have disabilities. And so my question to you, and it's amazing how fast the time has gone, because you're gonna
Oh
have to
wow.
come. You're gonna have to come because you're gonna come back. Because my question, and I told you I was gonna ask you this. What do you think? My whole show that is about living a victorious life. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe that you have shown us that you can have a victorious life despite your challenges. So answer that question for us. What do you believe a victorious life looks like to you?
A victorious life for me is believing in myself,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
loving me, accepting me, being kind to myself, acknowledging when I'm hurting,
Yes.
acknowledging when I'm not hurting,
Yes.
and when I actually need physical support.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to physical support, one of the biggest problems for me, I didn't even say challenges, one of the biggest problems for me
Mm-hmm.
was letting people in and letting them know that I needed support.
Yeah.
So,
Big
what I
one.
have been doing is I acknowledge I need support, and that not only do I request or I'll ask for support, but then I'll let the people help me.
Yes. That's stop right there. That's a good one. That's a good one right there. That's a good one. I am famous for not doing that, because people look to me that think I'm the strong one, right? And the
Mhm,
strong ones sometimes are the most vulnerable,
mhm.
and we need help too. And I don't do good at that one. So say it again for the people in the back.
You can ask for support
Ask for
and
support.
let the people support you. Patti
Yes.
LaBelle had a book or a song out that said, "Don't block my blessing."
Yeah.
Why would you block someone else from blessing you?
There it
And
is.
them blessing you, you're blessing them by giving them the opportunity to bless you.
I like That's a good way to think about it. That's a good way to think. Okay. I
So,
like
that's what it
that.
is. I want to say to the folks real quick, check out
Yeah.
Macy's.com,
Yes.
Casper Divine Nine Collection. You will see yours truly as one of the models representing Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Not only am I representing my sisterhood, but I'm also representing the disability community, because you don't see too many models, full figure model. I am a full figure model, 1X,
Okay,
wearing
come on.
braces and Lostran. And
Right.
I'm there. You'll see me in my crutches, you'll see me in my braces, full out, black, white, royal blue, and blue and white. Check it out. Buy it.
Say it again. Where is that? The
I'm
Macy's
actually wearing
catalog?
Casper right now,
All
one of the
right.
blouses.
Wait,
Um,
you said it's in the Macy's catalog?
Macy's.com. It's on the website.
Macy's.com, right? Yeah, what is the catalog anymore, right?
Right?
That's right. That's back
Macy's.com.
there with Spiegels.
Right. It's the Casper with the K, Casper Divine Nine Collection.
And you know what? And Shell, I'll tell you honestly, when I saw that spread, that is what led me to ask you to be on the show. Because I looked at that and I was so struck by your image in that beautiful blue dress and the crutches. And like you said, we don't see that. We don't see that.
Mhm.
And I said, I wonder if she would mind coming on the show, because I want to have more people like you who have pushed through the unimaginable and
Mhm.
have come out on the other side and have that story to tell, so you can tell somebody else that they can make it. That's what it's about. And I so appreciate you coming on tonight. And this has been a show where I just let you do all the talking because you got it going on, sis. You got it going
Thank
on, sis.
you.
I am so proud of you. I am
Thank
so
you.
happy that we gotten to know each other more in our adulthood. I love
Mm-hmm.
you, and you are an inspiration not only to others, but I just want to tell you, for me personally. So
Thank you.
as we wrap up tonight, as I'm not gonna I'm not gonna cry anymore. And we also have people who's saying thank you for sharing your powerful journey. I'm so proud of you. That's Natasha.
Thank you.
Thank you. And these are from YouTube. Valerie has said, good evening, Sarah Green, Miss Henderson. How you doing? Thank you for joining tonight. Let's see. Melanie said good evening. Melanie, we see you, baby. And Barbara says she worked at a place called Ability Beyond. They took out
Mm-hmm.
the term disability because they go out and function as people without disabilities. I love that. And we love you too, Dawn. Dawn says she loves us. And again, if anybody has a question for Michelle or something they want to say, put it in the comments, and I'll read it to her as we wrap up. I'm gonna do about 5 more minutes, and then we got to go. But in closing, Michelle, if you have any words of encouraging someone, please
Mm-hmm.
take a moment and do so. Just share your heart, and so that when this broadcast is played again,
Okay.
someone will be encouraged. What would you have to say to someone out there who just needs a little bit push?
My words of encouragement to anyone and everyone that's listening is to embrace somebody that you see who is disabled,
Mm-hmm.
who is differently abled, who is uniquely abled. Understand that their identity is unique to them. I am a person who identifies as a disabled person, and I embrace that. That doesn't mean that I cannot do something. It takes me a little bit longer, and
Right,
that's okay.
right.
It takes us a little bit longer, and that's okay. One more time. It's going to take us a little bit longer, and
Yes,
that's okay. Love yourself, speak kindly to yourself and to others. Treat others the way you would want to be treated, and
yes.
treat yourself the way you would want others to treat you. Be well, and thank you.
Michelle, girl, you're gonna have to come back. You're gonna have
Okay.
to come back because we didn't even talk about the marathon that you did.
The Disability
How
Pride
many marathons
Parade.
have you done?
Two. One with my
See,
sister, the Achilles Hope and Possibility race. We
yes.
we did together. We walked a mile, and then during COVID, I did 3 miles back and forth in my backyard virtually.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I'm here for that. I'm also working on my book to
See,
share
we didn't
my
even get
stories.
chance to talk about the book. I cannot. That's what I'm talking about. Then you asked me a few days ago, what are we going to talk about?
Right? But thank you so much, Vicki. I
You're
love
welcome.
you. Thank you
I
so
love
much
you
to my
too.
family, to my sorors, to my fraternity brothers, to my best friends, sister friends, everybody that showed up, people that I don't know, that you'll get
Yes,
to know me. Michelle
yes.
L. Green, Michelle with one L, Green
That's
with an
it.
E.
That's it.
You'll see me. So you'll look at Macy's and be like, wait a minute, I
I
know her.
know her. Yes.
Yes,
Y'all got to
that's
go see that Macy's.com spread. She is absolutely beautiful. So I wore the color blue tonight in her honor because I knew we were going to
you.
be some blue on tonight. Yes. And I didn't even talk about your journey about being in the sorority. So listen, there is going to be a part two. Hang on for a second, Michelle, because we'll debrief a little bit after the show. But I thank you all who joined in tonight. Again, this is Living Life Victoriously. I am on the air right here where you saw it, the second and fourth Mondays of each month. If you have any comments about the show, send an email to livinglifevictoriously1@gmail.com. If you know of somebody who would like to be on the show, if you want to come on the show and let's just talk about what it means to live this victorious life, let me know. I encourage you to do so, and we'll just really absolutely adore any feedback. Again, thank you for being with us tonight. From Michelle and I, we say God bless you and good night. Talk to you soon.
Good night. Peace, everyone.
I pray something you heard on today's show has helped you and has given you the encouragement to keep on pressing. Let me know your thoughts. You can send me an email at livinglifevictoriously1@gmail.com. Also, for more inspirational content, you can check out my blog called Still Waters over at wordpress.com. Walk in victory daily and join me the second and fourth Mondays of each month. Remember, live life victoriously.